Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and we got yet another update for patch 9.2, some more tier set changes planned for the future. This time we got some updates planned for the Vengeance and the Havoc Demon Hunter, as well as the tier set changes for the 3 playstyles of the Warlock class. Over the last few weeks, we saw a lot of conversation taking place between the devs and the players about how the tier set should be structured. Since we the players get to play with the tier sets, nobody wants a bad one, and it's great seeing the devs make changes based on the players' feedback. And we definitely need a lot more of this kind of communication of back and forth in the future WoW updates. So let's take a look at the changes planned for these two classes, as well as the other class specs that I think should be taken a look at in a future update. But right before that, most of you guys watching this videos are still not subscribed, but the more of you are reminded, the more of you do, so let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel, as well as hit the bell, especially if you enjoy regular updates for World of Warcraft, like for patch 9.2, or whatever the new expansion will might get announced in the near future. Let's start this video off with the Havoc Demon Hunter. Originally, their tier set buffed the damage of Blade Dance and Death Sweep, and every so many Blade Dances, you would occasionally get resets. Compared to all the other exciting class tier sets, main Demon Hunters found this set kind of boring and pretty simple. And some Demon Hunter builds don't even use Blade Dance, unless you specifically pick the talent of First Dance. The upcoming planned 2-piece bonus is to buff the damage of Blade Dance and Chaos Strike by 20%. This bonus will also apply to Death Sweep and Annihilation inside of Metamorphosis. This 2-piece change gives you more flexibility with the different builds you run, whether you're running the I-Beam Focus build or a Blade Dance Momentum build. But the exciting change is the 4-piece set bonus, where it extends the duration of Metamorphosis by a few extra seconds, and every 60 Fury you consume reduces the cooldown of Metamorphosis by 1 second. I'm a huge fan of tier sets adjusting the playstyles and even filling certain class gaps. One of the bigger gaps for Demon Hunters is the fact that Metamorphosis is a 4-minute button. You have to be very careful in your planning in Mythic Pluses for certain trash packs when you want to maximize the value, and you have a spare few times you can use it inside of a raid. This 4-piece will give you more metas, so that's more damage uses, but also it'll reward playstyles that build and spend Fury the fastest. I haven't done the math behind this tier set, but if you could take a Metamorphosis from a 4-minute cooldown to a 3-minute cooldown, that's a pretty big gain. Then the Vengeance Demon Hunter 4-piece tier set will now give you cooldown reduction. Every time you consume a soul fragment, you either get Immo or Feldev back a little bit quicker. In my opinion, cooldown reduction seems like the easiest thing you can do with tier sets. Giving classes more uses of certain abilities will amp up the gameplay, especially if these abilities are important to the core gameplay, and Fell Devastation is a pretty big ability, especially if you run your Vengeance in Demonic. It lets out a bellowing roar of just Fell Flame onto the target, healing you for quite a bit, but also activating Metamorphosis, which gives you more defensive options as a Vengeance Demon Hunter. So far, these tier sets saw a warm reception, and in my opinion, this is a better version than what they started with. Who would have known that changes based on community feedback would get the community pretty happy? Cannot wait to test out some of these Demon Hunter changes in the next public test run build. The next class getting changes is going to be Warlock for all 3 playable specs. Starting off with Affliction Warlock. First of all, I observed some bugginess between Absolute Corruption the talent and the 2-piece tier set. Absolute Corruption does what the name suggests. It makes your corruption damage over time ability absolute, lasting an infinite amount of time permanently on the enemy until they die. But for whatever reason, when you use the 2-piece tier set to extend the duration of this permadot, it actually gives it a hidden duration that causes this dot to eventually fall off. So hopefully this bug fix is planned together with the tier set fix. But the new tier set will allow your enemy to take damage as if corruption just ticked on them every time you try to extend this permadot. Your 4-piece also got changed if you're running the talent of Drained Soul, giving you a 10% chance instead of a 4% chance on Drained Soul damage to give you a free Malefic Rapture. In PvE content, playing Affliction Warlock, Drained Soul just feels better in gameplay than Shadow Bolt does. It feels like a better filler, it has an execute mechanic, it can generate soul shards when it does land a kill on the enemy, and cutting off the channel of Drained Soul to refresh your dots feels better than having to play around the channel time of a Shadow Bolt. Personally, I would love to see talents like Nightfall eventually become a viable playstyle in the future, but Drained Soul does feel better for most PvE content. So this tier set change will just easier incorporate itself into the current comfort pick that many Warlocks enjoy when it comes to playing Affliction. Maybe they'll find a way to buff the 4-piece tier set to also work in PvP, like making the 4-piece also work off of Drain Life. Then we have the Demonology Warlock tier set. The 2-piece is not getting any changes. You'll still be able to summon extra demon doggos. Your 4-piece, however, is going to be changed. First of all, on PTR, there seems to be a bug where the chance to spawn the malefic imps is overtuned. Instead of being the 5% that tooltip suggests, it's apparently 50% per soul shard spend, which gives you a lot of those malefic imps, which gives you a lot of resources, and feels pretty overtuned over on PTR. So once this bug is fixed, your Hand of Gul'dan will have a 15% chance to summon a malicious imp on spending soul shards instead of a 5% chance. These imps' damage will be greatly empowered, but they will no longer generate you free resources or demonic core procs. Currently on PTR, you're generating a lot of soul shards and demonic core procs, but you're also generating more imps than intended. When I played my Demonology Warlock, I like to have very predictable resource generation. I like the demons that I summon and their timers to line up perfectly so I can have the biggest demonic army before I bust out the tyrant, but I find this heavily planned out playstyle difficult to do when I can just get a random amount of soul shards. So this change to malicious imps makes the playstyle of the Warlock tier set more predictable. It's not quite as exciting as it was originally, but it does let you plan out your playstyle, your opener, and your rotation far better when it comes to approaching some of the raid fights. It's a more boring way of fixing the tier set by simply buffing the damage of malicious imps instead of giving you far more resources, but still this means a bigger demon army to summon up before they get empowered by my tyrant. And maybe consistency is exactly what Demonology Warlock needs. I want to hear you guys' thoughts about that in the comments below. Speaking about RNG removal, let's talk about Destruction Warlock tier set. Instead of making it where your Chaos Bolts and Rain of Fires can randomly make the other instant cast, now you have to spend 10 soul shards to guarantee the next Chaos Bolt or Rain Fire to be free and instant cast. This makes the playstyle far more consistent and predictable, and you can count the amount of soul shards you need to spend before you get that freebie. And also this will feel better than the RNG heavy playstyle you had before, where sometimes you'll just get a bunch of procs and it feels awesome, and other times you get no procs for a whole minute and it feels miserable. The 4-piece got a weird change where instead of summoning an Infernal, you'll get a Blasphemy for 8 seconds. We're not exactly sure what a Blasphemy is or what it will look like, except we know that it will function and behave like a normal Reign of Chaos Infernal. So I imagine it will have an immolation aura that will pulse once in a while, and he will do auto attacks and will likely still generate you resources. And I wonder if the model will be different than the normal Infernals. It's also likely that this change is done on purpose so you don't necessarily have to play conduits as well as talents to play off of Infernals, since now you no longer summon an Infernal, but rather a Blasphemy. In my opinion, these updates are a great step in the right direction, and I cannot wait to try these tier sets over on the testing realms. Some of the other specs I hope they take a look at in the future will be Mystery Monk, Beastmaster Hunter, and Retribution Paladin. For monks, the 4-piece rune playstyle just feels kind of awkward for a class as mobile as that class is. For Beastmaster Hunter, the tier set works wonders in single target, but feels kind of weird and awkward to use in AoE, and I wonder if that could be addressed in the future. Then there's Retribution Paladin tier set, which is while still buggy, that's expected of testing realms, but the 2 seconds of Seraphim feels too short to give you much of an opportunity to do something efficient with it. I do love random procs of Wake of Ashes, but the Paladin forum post has a detailed way on how Blizzard can fix it so they can keep the same tier set bonus, but still make it feel better and more consistent. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in your comments down below what spec or class should Blizzard take a look at next when it comes to the next set of tuning of tier sets. Which playstyle do you think has been neglected and should get taken a look at ASAP? Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it, especially if you find this video informative or entertaining. And as always, there's a link down in the description below for our channel Discord for you guys to join the community. Thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another one.